Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Tim Muhammad. Hey, let's talk about it. Today is going to be one of the craziest videos that needs to be done. It needed to be said. Let's talk about the situation in Israel and Palestine. Hit that like and subscribe button, yo. Let's go. Okay, guys, listen. Let me lay this example out first. Imagine you in your house, right? And the neighbor down the block, him and his wife have a fight or a situation, right? Then a judge comes and tells one of them they have to leave, right? And then all of a sudden, they come and knock on your door and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson down the street had a conflict, and we think it'd be a good idea if Miss Johnson took your house. He was like, what? I don't got nothing to do with that. I know. Be a good person and let Miss Johnson just get a room in your house, right? That's essentially what happened, y'all. Let's make this simple. You know, everybody can try to play these games about thousands of years, but that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Palestine was under British rule, which is white colonialism rule, right? Before World War I and II, right? Then something called Hitler arrives. I know that's a horrible word. That's a horrible word. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hitler came, right? And they said 6 million Jews was killed in Germany, right? I'm gonna say it again. They said 6 million innocent lives was killed in Germany during the Holocaust. So they say that this big event happened in the Holocaust. During the Holocaust, where 6 million Jews was killed and burned in ovens, you know, mostly done by their own Jewish brethren, you know. People, do your history and find out who funded Hitler. It was other Jews that funded Hitler. I'm going to say it again. It was other Jews that funded Hitler. But they want to come and play this game like Hitler was just this huge monster. I don't condone anything that he has done, but y'all need to do y'all history on why he did what he did. Maybe I'm going to do a video up on that. Once again, I do not condone the taking the life of anyone innocent. As a Muslim, we can never, ever be the aggressor. I want y'all to see this clip on how things is now. Check this out.
We now turn to Israel, which has ramped up violence against Palestinians during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. On Monday, Israeli forces attacked the third holiest site in Islam, the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, wounding at least 163 Palestinians. Hamas militants then responded with rockets, and Israel launched airstrikes into Gaza in return, killing at least 33 Palestinians and wounding over 120 others. On the Israeli side, at least 3 people have been killed and 56 others wounded. The conflict has obviously been raging for decades, but it's getting harder for the international community to stay silent because Israel is a nuclear-powered state with a military, while Palestinians are stateless and forced to live under Israeli control with no rights. The latest round of violence has been referred to as a real estate dispute by the Israeli government, which is trying to evict Palestinian families who have lived in eastern Jerusalem since the 1950s. Under Israeli law, occupying Jewish settlers can reclaim property that was under Jewish ownership before 1948. That's when Israel declared itself an independent state and violently expelled Palestinians in what many historians refer to as a campaign of ethnic cleansing. In 1967, Israel then annexed East Jerusalem and the entire West Bank, but the international community has never recognized the occupied territories as belonging to Israel. Today, the reality on the ground has been condemned by human rights groups who accuse Israel of committing crimes of apartheid against Palestinians. Jesse, despite the evidence, the U.S. and its taxpayers reportedly provide the Israeli government with over $3 billion in military aid every year with no conditions or accountability for human rights abuses.
Well, I'll tell you.
Could you imagine that? Now, this thing been going on for over 70 years, y'all. For over 70 years. And like the minister said, that nation called Israel in Palestine would never have no peace. Because you can't get peace trying to build a foundation on lies, stealing, murder, war crime, apartheid. You can't build a nation and you can't build peace when it's built on evil. Now, I got a lot of Negroes telling me, hey, Tim, bro, check it out. This was God's will. God said the Jews will have their own state. Is the British government God? Who was God at the 1947-48 conference when they decided to chop up someone else's country and make it their own? Who was God at the table? You stupid Negroes. Who was God at the table? Huh? We have a evil situation that's backed by the United States government. Check this out too, y'all.
Tonight in Tel Aviv, images that change everything in an escalation that has already spiraled so fast. Israel's missile defense systems lighting up the sky as they try to intercept incoming Hamas rockets. 130 of them were fired from Gaza in one barrage. Flights at the international airport were urgently suspended and diverted. Hamas said it was a specific target. And on the streets, injured Israelis, which, for Israel, will move this conflict onto a different level. The earlier Israeli assault on Gaza, which prompted the Hamas retaliation, had been relentless. And for those who are not the targets, but who are so often the victims, it is terrifying. With the weight of the Israeli Air Force on top of them, there is nowhere safe to run. Locals filmed the moment a 13-story building collapsed. It's not clear how many people were in it at the time. It is a residential block. The Israelis had earlier said that they were targeting militants in their homes. The number confirmed to have died through the day and the night before continues to rise. Children too. Here, a mother and her son are buried. They're from a refugee camp. Most in Gaza are refugees. And in one of the hospitals, agony and defiance. This man vows revenge for the death of his comrade, a member of Hamas's Jerusalem brigade. On the Israeli side of the fence, which locks Gaza off, in the city of Ashkelon, the air raid sirens sounded through the day. In the skies, the trails of Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system. It shot down most of the Hamas rockets. The Israeli communities here are used to attacks from Gaza, but not this many in just a few hours.
This is the third time it's happened since we've been here. You hear the wail of the sirens, and then moments later, sometimes the thud of the rockets as they come in. From Gaza, there have been scores of rockets over the course of the past few hours, most of them hitting here around this town.
Whoa. A mile away, the home of an elderly lady and her carer. They both died, unable to get to the shelter in time. The Israeli Defense Forces spokesman was here, keen to show us what Israel faces from Hamas. No one can look at this and see anything other than a tragedy that has happened here. But the images that are coming out of Gaza are truly horrific. It seems that what Israel is doing in Gaza is totally disproportionate to what is happening here.
I would beg to differ. I think that what we are doing are specific strikes against military targets inside Gaza that are part of the Hamas and the Islamic Jihad's military infrastructure.
We watched the Iron Dome intercept some of them as they flew north.
Let's go in, let's go in. Come on, Mohammed.
Hamas claims to be the defender of the Palestinian cause, striking their occupier. Israel will strike back harder still, and the diplomacy to break this cycle isn't there.
Okay, so here we are now, right? Check it out. So here we are now. The current situation, we have over 212 Palestinians have been murdered. Over 212 Palestinians have been murdered within the last 2 weeks, compared to 10 Jews. 212 Palestinians have been killed, including 61 children, compared to 10 Israeli people who have been murdered. Israel is really who runs America. Let's just put it out there. Israel run this. That's why when you pull out your dollar and look above the look above the eagle, you see those stars, those 13 stars. But you can draw that and you can see the Star of David. I'm going to say it again. Pull out your dollar. All praise is due to Allah for the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. The minister have pointed these things out to us. But if you pull out your dollar above the eagle, there's 13 stars, and you can draw your hand and you'll see the Star of David. Why do you think when Joe Biden, who's a puppet, tries to tell this guy, right, that he needs to cease fire? That shit went over his head. You can't tell Netanyahu what to do. You can't tell him what to do. You have America who gives Israel this military might. They are a nuclear area, because I ain't gonna call them a state, because they are there illegally occupying someone else's land, right? They are backed by the might of America, the might of England, right? We have one side that has nuclear weapons, top of the line defense, top of the line bullets, top of the line tanks, top of the line Air Force, versus people who are throwing rocks and slingshots. Where's the heart, y'all? When you was a big brother and you knew you could wipe your little brother out with just a smack of a hand, but you didn't, because you knew I can hurt him at will. And me being the bigger, stronger person, I'm not gonna destroy someone I know has no chance of hurting me. Where is the heart, y'all? These are the people of God. These are the people of God. That's why it's such familiar when how we see the Palestinians being treated by the Jews in Palestine. Most of our cops are trained by the Israeli army. I'm going to say it again. Most of our cops that mishandle us, and when I say us, the black man and woman in America, are trained by these same Israeli demons, right? Where do we go from here, y'all? I have a feeling that, as Brother Malcolm said when he was Brother Malcolm, that the chickens will come home to roost on this. Earlier today, Joe Biden asked again, Netanyahu, can you have a ceasefire? Because it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of countries like Iran and Pakistan who said they need to nuke Israel. I'm going to say it again. It's countries that saying they should nuke Israel for the war crimes they are committing against the Palestinian people. And all you Negroes who don't know what's going on, all you Democrats, because it's mostly the Democrats, all y'all can say is Israel has the right to defend itself. This whole conflict started from Israel overextending themselves, taking advantage, being the bully. You can't come on Palestinian land, go to their house, try to evict people from a building that's on their land where they live just because you want it. How long will Allah let this type of stuff go before he come down and wipe these demons out? How long do you think he's gonna rest and let this go on? We are at the brink of something very, very serious. Of something very, very serious. We got Palestine, a stateless country. I'm gonna call it a stateless country. Versus Israel, who's backed by America, by your tax dollars. They get over $3 billion every year from your tax dollars, right? to carry out this type of terror? Where's the American people at? Where's the American people at saying we can use that $3 billion for American citizens? Why are we funding the terror on another country? Why are we funding the terror for another country? What I mean by that, why are we giving $3 billion every year or more to Israel? Because Israel calls the shots. Israel calls the shots. I'm going to leave y'all with this. I'm going to speak on Hamas, what they call a terrorist organization. Think about this, y'all. If you are occupied by someone who's more powerful, come to take over your land, bully you, take your stuff, take your land, order you around, and they're backed by the most powerful military on the planet, you're either going to lay down and comply, or you're willing to die rather than beg on your knees. That's what Hamas is. They are the reaction of what's been going on. They didn't just pop out of nowhere and say, let's go kill some people. This is the result of people who are fed up. I'm going to say it again. They are throwing rocks, marbles, versus bullets, tanks. And I know what you're saying. Oh, Muhammad, they shot all those rockets over up in Israel. That was retaliation. In Islam, we are never taught to be the aggressor, but we are also taught to fight with those who fight with us. That's what y'all see that's totally different. That's why the Palestinians will not go away. That's why they won't comply. Because we fight with those who fight with us. And this same thing, right? That's going to be in America. That's what I'm going to leave it with. The same situation going to be in America one day. Maybe in my lifetime. So when we sit back and we watch this huge thing of injustice going on, right? And we keep our mouth shut because we scared of a job or being blocked and all of this stuff, right? Just know when it's at our doorstep, we set this up ourselves. To Muhammad, y'all. May Allah continue to keep you and your family blessed. May Allah keep the minister safe. I'm out.